Hey, it's Andy Langer. We're coming to you from the YETI store in Austin, Texas. We're excited for you to join us tonight as we celebrate live music and the importance of independent music venues in our communities. We're also here to put the spotlight on the book, Bring Music Home. It features more than 200 music venues in 30 cities across the United States. YETI is thrilled to partner with Bring Music Home on this 500-page monument to the music industry. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of every book will benefit NIVA, which is the National Independent Venue Association, and their efforts to save live music in our communities. For more information on the Bring Music Home book or to buy your copy, go to bringmusichome.com. Tonight's program will begin with a short video vignette from the Bring Music Home project, followed by a conversation with Austin music venue owner Dennis O'Donnell of the Sagebrush and Whitehorse here in Austin. We'll end with a performance by Alejandro Rose Garcia, aka Shakey Graves, and Stephanie Hunt of Buffalo Hunt.
Within 6 hours, we went from having a full calendar to having an entire month free ahead of us.
It's been so slow for months now. We spent weeks and months not knowing if we were going to get a dime. And
every show has been canceled or postponed.
Our last show was March 11th.
I kind of felt like this could be it. Like after the show, all the shows were going away for the foreseeable future.
You can plan for almost anything, and I don't think any person was able to plan for this.
First to close and we'll be the last to open. And that's a sad reality.
Music's not just like a weekend entertainment thing, it's our lives.
Technically, almost every music venue in America, maybe the world, is bankrupt.
You know, the whole ecosystem surrounding this venue and all the other venues, everyone involved is really without a lot of hope right now.
Putting people into this venue and expose them to new music and new art, that's what I'm here to do, you know, and man, not doing that is rough, you know.
People that work in this industry should not be one check away from, or one situation away from just being homeless. But you know, there are communities in this country that have been there for a long time.
After doing this for as long as I've been doing it, I cannot imagine, I can't walk away from it.
The Oriental Theater opened New Year's Day of 1927. I think about my staff and I think about all these bands and how we were once together, and I'm excited to bring everyone back together.
Just talking to other promoters, talking to other venue staff, and talking to other people in other states around the country, and just understanding that we're all in this together and that our collective voice is a pretty strong thing.
It's not just us looking out for ourselves, it's really us looking out for like the cultural longevity of this amazing music city.
Forget the silly little arguments we had, because now the bigger picture is at stake.
This is my life.
Will we ever return back to normal? I don't know. It might be a new normal.
We're gonna get through it.
This matters because this little shack, like, saves lives.
Come see a show when we open back up.
Welcome back. She's Stephanie. This is Alejandro. And Dennis here. Let's start with you. We heard first to close, last to come back. We've been hearing that throughout the pandemic. Your bars are back open, but it has been a long touch and go year for you and so many club owners. Talk to me about right after we get word here in Austin that South by Southwest is canceled. How quickly do the dominoes fall?
Yeah, that was really fast. When we found out that South by was canceled, it was kind of still a rumor that this was all growing and becoming more and more of a threat. And that's what made it real. Right then, we saw attendance immediately start to slip, and we started to have to talk about the safety of our staff and the public. And soon after that, we closed, and the city mandated everybody to be shut down, I think, around the second week of March.
I mean, you're in the business of, well, entertaining folks. It's the entertainment business. I mean, when it is very much the entertainment business. But you become a de facto public health officer across the last year as well. You've got to consider the health of the public, the health of the people that you're most responsible for, the people that work for you, and all of those things are weighed against keeping the lights on, the rent paid, all of the bills that stack up while you're closed. How much of that were you entirely unprepared for?
Well, yeah, we really haven't had any practice in this as being such a massive disaster. Well, we were lucky that the peers and everybody else who owned bars, we all called each other. And Moody from the Mohawk had great ideas to help, and we were all bouncing these ideas of how do we operate if we do and how to make it safe. Will Taylor from the Hole in the Wall was a great help, and Jason P. McNeely was there for us too. Everybody pulled together. When it came to the math of the cost of being closed for how long and not sure when and how much relief was coming, was just a roll of the dice. You know, we'd hope that Uncle Sam would come in and keep our head above water, and staying closed in this town is expensive. So we were able to dig a mighty hole, but stay alive.
Ollie, the way, well, you grew up here.
Yep.
You grew up at the Paramount Theater. Your mother was involved
born inside
there.
of the Paramount Theater. Just popped out like, yeah.
I mean, you were very selective and very purposeful when you launched your career about which clubs you'd play and how those clubs would move your career forward. I mean, you've really thought about the ecosystem of clubs here and grew up in them. And to see them hanging on, or barely hanging on, the way they did across the last year while you're stuck at home and not doing the thing that you normally do, that had a weigh on you too, I imagine.
Well, it's like, you know, I as much as I would have loved to have masterminded my ascent through clubs or whatever, you also get what you can. It is an ecosystem where you're like, how am I going to even be able to step foot on a stage? And, you know, a lot of people kind of in music in general or in entertainment, it's a lot of hanging on by a thread, like continuously walking a balance beam. No matter what it is, a lot of time most people are work for hire, you know, and something like South by being canceled, a lot of bands depend on that, almost like, you know, that season in the jungle where all this, like, or, you know, in Africa where all the cicadas hatch and every animal gets to eat for like one brief period, and then it's like, okay, it's gonna be a tough winter, you know, like it's one time where you can sometimes, like, and I know for venues that, I mean, how much of that do you think, like, that's usually just like a giant bonus, because people will come. I've seen your bar turn into, you know, the like ESPN Sports Zone at the White Horse, and you're like, oh my God, what is this, you know? So I mean, the thing is that, you know, the yank away from this kind of natural rhythm that we're all in isn't something that everyone is lucky enough to have, like a, you know, a rainy day fund for. And especially, I know for venues, it's like, this town is more expensive than ever, and I don't really see it slowing down. Even with this being, you know, something that affected everybody, it's like this is still kind of a boom town. And, you know, I feel really happy to have been from here, and again, yeah, I had places I wanted to play. That's how I met Dennis. Was I moved back. I was in California for a while and came back and again, like in the couple years that I had left, every weird club that I knew or whatever, a lot of them had rotated out, and I was like, well, I can't just go play at the Continental Club. Like they're gonna be like, no. I was like, okay, great. And I needed some place that was that was that part of the ecosystem, a place that was like, sure, you can try, and it was a hole in the wall, and yeah, it's
and
like,
Dennis was running the place.
Dennis,
to be clear, that's how you guys met.
You were Lord Bartender
I was the day manager.
The day manager.
Yes,
nice. Nice.
And I got to book my own happy hour shows.
Nice. Yeah, and did I contact you?
You came into the bar.
Via email? I did?
No, you just walked into the bar.
Sauntered on into
I
the
didn't
bar.
have an email.
Oh,
then.
that's super cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you still, we've talked to you about this. Like, I appreciate that you, in the way that you try and run this ecosystem too, you'd sort of prefer not to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
not have a team approach you and be like, we've got this guy who's going to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, because we're the catfish. We're on the bottom. So where when you have a team or your manager approaches, at that point you've ascended to selling tickets.
Right.
And for us, we're selling liquor and beer.
Right.
And we have the ability to take greater risks on new people and hope that we grab them on their ascent or see them grow up and out of the club.
Well, I mean, that's an important thing too, that as venues close, you sometimes don't realize that one of these places is sort of an integral step maybe in between selling tickets and making it into a international space, and that's not a coffee shop or not a it's like, and a lot of those places disappear before you realize how important they were, and this kind of helped extinguish a bunch all at once, this whole the pandemic, and again, no business no business is tough if you pay rent, and we all do.
Yeah, I mean, for people that don't own the land, which is, 90% of Austin's club owners,
right?
There's just bills that stack up. I mean, for instance, what part, we talk about it as an ecosystem. I remember talking to a restaurateur right around the cancellation of South by Southwest. She was closing her doors, and she was waiting for the linen guy to come pick up the linens. And then she realized that's probably the last day or two of work for the linen guy driver, because he's not going to be driving to every restaurant in town every 3 days. And that it shakes down way further than people think. They think, oh, well, there's no shows. But it's much more complex than that. I mean, can you explain to folks that maybe don't know how complicated, or maybe you at the beginning didn't know how complicated that ecosystem is, and just how far those tentacles go?
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, we're a small club, but we still support a lot of different kinds of people. Like you said, the linen, of course, the liquor and the beer delivery guys, our sound engineers, our booking manager, and all the employees under the roof. And all those goods and services halted to a stop. So it was, thankfully for us, our product for the most part doesn't go bad. If that bottle of whiskey is going to sit on the shelf, it was just, it wasn't that we had a freezer full of lobster.
Fresh fish, yeah.
Right? Or a high-end restaurant where the operating costs of some of those things are just really difficult to manage. Where everything halted, it was just the uncertainty. It was not knowing when it was going to correct, or if we were going to be able to give us a rope to pull ourselves out of it.
Stephanie, you had a bunch of momentum going into 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been a year filled with touring and a record, and then all that stops.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not unique in that situation, but it doesn't make it any less difficult.
That's true. I mean, on paper, it sounds like it should have been completely devastating, which in a lot of ways at the beginning it was. But I am an optimist by nature, and I feel like what did happen in what I feel like is the great pause was some reflection that otherwise wouldn't have been able to happen and may never happen again. So for all of the, immense tragic happenings that happened and the losses perceived by, I did put my record out on Bandcamp only, and now I'm going to do like a full release this summer. It felt like I learned things about what the creative process is that you can only learn when you sit in your house for a long time. And that's usually not the case when you are out and in the culture, even though it's because of the culture of the musicians. And like you were saying, Dennis, how all the venue owners got together and were able to talk. I mean, just being able to talk to my other friends who are musicians and the community at large and become aware of that and what the loss was made me all the more grateful for what we do have here and what our strengths are.
Not to get all TMZ on you, but the folks at home may not know you two were a couple. You survived this pandemic together.
We did.
We
in the same house.
Very much so. Yeah.
And you told me just a little while ago that one of the blessings of the last year is that now you know you like each other.
Right.
Yeah,
it was about a week ago. We were like,
I think you're good.
Yeah, I think we do like each other. It's cool.
No, I mean, but to go through it with someone who has a similar career, the same career.
Yeah.
That's got to have been.
Definitely.
And we definitely had a similar mindset too, which was, when it's full game on, we easily spend a lot of time apart and together. We're both very good at being independent and very codependent. Yeah. And usually it was like a natural rhythm of that was just, again, something you take for granted. And then all of a sudden it's like all the time. And so it was a learning process. But then at the same time, it was, again, like she said, like you nailed, is just, I suddenly was just realizing that this was kind of, in a way, something I had wished for. Period. Like I wanted a break.
It's your fault.
I know I did this. I'm sorry.
It's not. Sorry.
But it was the most impossible wish on earth. Is that I wish everything would stop for a little while, like full on stop. And it came true in maybe the pretty grim way. I didn't mean that by it, but pretty quickly it was like we were able to look at the bright side of that. And like you were talking about, I know that you haven't spent that much time off of work in. Ever, right. So, like, people, and we, I had friends who had kids right before it happened. I had friends who, again, like you said, like record cycles. Our friend Caroline Rose had been working on a record for like 2 years and was prepped to go on this massive tour, and it was just like, no. And talking to her about it, she's like, yeah, that might have been the tour that drove me totally insane. So in some ways, it's like, who knows? This is the fate we're in now, and yeah, the great pause is a good way to put it. But I mean, the casualties again are very strange. It's across the board, and as far as industries are concerned, it's massive. You know what I mean? But we live in a lot of surplus these days too, so it's crazy.
Dennis, you touched on it before, but there was this community of club owners who probably talked to each other occasionally throughout the year before this. When there was an important issue in whatever district those clubs were in. But now you guys were aligned and you guys had a common cause and probably realized that a lot of these men and women that run clubs across town are not only your friends, but your allies now in this thing, in this fight. Talk to me about how everyone came together that way.
We have something kind of unique here in Austin. And now we call it the live music capital of the world. So that means that we have the most dense competition for what we do in this town. So there's been a couple of times where there's been policy that the city has put across where it's caused us to circle the wagons. And so we get all of the bar owners together. And we've done that several times over the last 10 years. And we all really enjoy hanging out with each other. I mean, it's like when you talk to somebody who's on the road with the same lifestyle that you do, we have the same drama. And so we click really well. And we're fun we have a great time together. So when it came to a disaster, I had been lucky to have formed the relationships with so many of my peers that I look up to for wisdom. And it was things like, Will Tanner was like, make sure they bring their own microphones. Okay, or little things like that. And what we had to come up with wasn't one thing. It was, how do we implement 50 things? Because that direction was not coming from city government. It wasn't coming from Uncle Sam. Yeah. It was, how do we, when it's time to open, when we were given that opportunity, how do we implement a plan that's the safest? You know, and we had a lot of help.
Ollie, in the before times.
In the way back times.
And we saw that package of clips of all these vibrant places and then what they turned into over the last year. But let's concentrate on the vibrant part for a minute.
Got it, yeah.
As somebody who's played almost all those rooms, what makes any given room special? What are the things that have to happen for the place itself to be a special place?
Well, there's a million variables down to the music that you play or the night that you're having, and that's kind of, I feel like the best breakdown of what makes a good music scene or a good venue was David Byrne wrote about it. He had a whole chapter in it in his book, How Music Works, and he used CBGB as an example of a place where other musicians would go to hang out, whether or not they intended to see bands, but the design of the room would make bands watch other bands. And usually it includes a couple other factors, like bands drink for cheap or free because they're part of the community. And it just happens to be one of those things where often bands are, don't have a lot of money to spend, but also want to hang out and happen to enjoy alcohol, it seems like. And all of these things create, new pockets of music and interconnected friendships. And it's something like when you're a touring musician, you get really disassociated from that. So, the thing that to me makes the best venues are these like hometown things. And Dennis has been responsible for a lot of these bars that have had this scene for me. And I think instinctually it's kind of how you build these rooms and how you bring musicians in and sort of just your ethos of family and the rooms that you're in. But, honestly, touring doesn't really help you shed light on that. Touring, helps you sell tickets and learn how to have a sharp show and how to deal with anything that any room, you go in a room and it's boomy and terrible and people are sweating on you and at sound check, you're like, this is going to be the worst. And then it's the best show. And then you go in this beautiful theater and you're like, oh, we're going to destroy this. And it's the worst show. It's like, and so there's no real rhyme or reason to it. But the thing is that like, the experts in every one of these videos aren't me who gets to come through and play on a Tuesday night to my crowd that I bring into this room. It's the people who are there on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and the people in the community who come to see all those shows, and that's what makes a good venue.
And you want people coming on a Tuesday night that don't even know who's playing.
In my venue, for sure. Well, and that's where we're at the bottom. So in like this synergy of building community.
Bottom top, though. You know what I mean? Top
Very
of the
important
yeah.
bottom.
But we're hoping for a community. So there's a difference between a bar and a venue. And we kind of ride the bar side in that we have a family and a tribe of people that are regulars that I know about their kids and every aspect of each other's lives. They become family. And then there's that stage. And then if the musician goes past that, their manager calls me and they're like, hi, we were having to talk about this guarantee and to sell tickets on Eventbrite or anything. And that's when you've moved past me. And you've gone to like the Parish. That was an ascent step that you took here in town.
Right.
Where they have an ability to charge a greater ticket at the door because you are the attraction. And it's not the community that's the attraction.
Yeah, you don't want to hang out in that room. It's like a box that is just playing. There's no like, I'm going to go hang out at the Parish. It's like, no, you're going to be in the middle of a show,
right?
Kind of no matter what.
And it's greater risk.
Right.
For me, all of those people that we rub with good times and know them by a first name, that's safety for me in years to come. When you're making all of your revenue Friday and Saturday night and the rest of the room doesn't do it for the rest of the week, you either do really good at that or not. And that's a job that's beyond me. I'm not good at that at all.
Well, I think that's the scary thing, not just that there's not going to be anywhere to see shows. You know what I mean? Like there'll always be, someone will be able to open some place that sounds cool and you can go in and you can see a show. And, I'm not particularly worried about that, but like we were talking about the infrastructure of maybe the bottom floor or whatever, the Catfish bars are like, without that, there is no music scene. There isn't a live music capital of the world. There's nowhere you can walk in and stumble into Blaze Foley playing to, at the outhouse or whatever. It's like, and that's what our city is really built on. That's the bones and the legend that Austin, Texas has, broadcast across the earth. And when those things are the first people and buildings to die and to burn away, it's like endangered species kind of stuff. You're like,
we don't want to only have arenas. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Well, in Austin, we saw some of those first things that went away. Your Threadgills, your Shady Grove, which had a very popular live music series. Those were things that, you grew up going to, both of you who grew up here. On the other hand, change has always been a part of the club ecosystem here.
Sure.
Mostly because the margins have always been really thin, and things can stack up against you. You have a bad couple of months and you're gone, or they tear you down for condos.
Right. It's true.
The Armadillo turned into the place where you have to go to the code department to get your permits.
Yeah,
see?
that's crazy.
Ouch.
That's a total just like kick in the ribs.
It's a
Gotcha.
weird justice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Wow.
But it is easy to think that venues will never go away, but it really is up to us and up to the community to, find the safe way to go and to support the venues and as things are opening up, because I did have a nightmare during COVID that was very scary, and it was that there were no venues. And in the dream, it was like, I'm going out, and going out just meant walking out and trying to find music in the woods and trying to find a bonfire to hang out at. And it was like, Wilco was just playing in the woods, and then it was chaos, and it was kind of scary, and you had to go to weird places, and it was a whole adventure. But I woke up and was like, oh my God, venues, we have to save them. Like, we have to think about that as an actual thing. And it can be easy as an Austinite that, yes, the venues created who I am. I got a fake ID in high school, not to drink, but to go see shows. And it was every day of the week. And that, the community within that changes your makeup. And it's very important to recognize that it is something that's in our hands to patronize and to support.
This was a city that was changing rapidly, that was growing rapidly, that seems to still be growing and changing rapidly, even with the last year. But you throw the last year on top of it, and the uncertainty that a lot of folks were facing becomes even more uncertain, even in this time of growth and change. And I think that's what probably people looking at Austin have a hard time wrapping their heads around. They probably think you've got Elon Musk and Joe Rogan, you're fine. and I'm not sure that's the case.
They're newbies, okay? They are newbies.
Yeah.
Like we're a team that traded for two heavy hitters.
They're here. They're here for sure. Where? I haven't seen them yet. I have no idea. But there's a certain level of, like, the things that I worry about too is, like, I played I played one of the first shows that was like this big kind of pod, towards the end of last year, like pod shows. It was in Houston. It was at the White Oak, and it's this big massive yard, and I was like, yeah, okay, I would love to do this, and went out. And what I realized quickly was that the front row were really rich people who could afford these insane, because then I was like, right, so the tickets go up. And then also it's people who haven't been out of the house for a long time, and you had to go with like a group of 8 people, and they have basically like a little pagoda. And so they were having a ball, and it had absolutely nothing to do with me. It was like almost, where you're like, right, people wanting to go out doesn't mean that it's a great show, or the the people who can afford the most expensive tickets are sometimes not the people you want at your show. You want the weird drunk guy with one eyeball that's like, I liked the second song you played. And you're like, thank you.
I've seen that guy.
Yeah.
And at the bottom, you want working people. You want somebody who goes to the bar to drink, because you're not selling tickets at first, you're selling drinks. and you have to emotionally impact them in a community of people that are already jived by music.
Yeah.
You guys are lucky. If something hits you really strong, you'll have goosebumps or your hair's raised. Not everybody feels that. And if this affluency, and it's diluting some of that, in that if you go sometimes to a large show and you don't see anybody clap, it scares me.
Yeah.
Because you got to be in that moment in time to be in front of a small, intimate something that just grabs you emotionally, to need it again, to want to go back again to that show.
I think it's an important thing in the path of learning how to perform, or something that I will always take away from my time at Hole in the Wall, or playing like ungrateful sets, playing 5 to 7 on a Wednesday, and basically making up a set and kind of realizing that no one would stay in the room long enough so I could maybe like repeat a couple songs, except for Dennis would hear it all and he was like, didn't bug me, and I'm like, thanks. But part of it was trying to learn how to snag people as they walked by. And I a lot of people think that I love busking because I have, I play luggage or whatever. But it's like, I also think busking is not a great way to learn to play music or to hold that space either. It's like, if you stop traffic and people, come around you to watch you busk, it's usually like full gimmick. Like, I know people who are crazy buskers and make a ton of money, but they have a whole show that's specifically for that. And I think you learn weird habits also by expecting that people are going to come in a room and just listen to you. If you're like, that's what music is, you pay a ticket, you come in here and you watch me. It's like, that's not exactly right either. You want people to walk by you and then be like, maybe I'll give you 5 minutes. And then if you can sell them the best hot dog in those 5 minutes, then keep making hot dogs.
You did that this last year.
That's true, yeah.
We said, yes, if we could play, and we said no, right? And then it was like, well, we're going to do it like the old days for the homies.
Right.
Because so many
This
people.
is at the White Horse.
This is at the Sagebrush.
This is the Sagebrush.
Yeah, this was
Secret show.
Secret show. And it was like, okay, you're not even going to tell me. And you did it, right?
Right. This was yeah.
This thing was still a secret to me.
Right.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, we couldn't tell
I just
anybody.
now heard about it.
But it was important you wanted to perform.
Yeah.
And, there was, let's say, 15 people in the room. And I think probably about 3 of them knew who you were. There was the rest of them that maybe didn't. And my cousin's behind the bar, and lady comes over to the bar and gets a drink. She's like, wow, he sounds just like Shakey Graves.
Yeah.
And she goes, I know, doesn't he?
Isn't that crazy?
And she walks outside with her drinks. So that, like...
You spawned some good imitators.
Well, that was what I craved, and at a certain point when things kind of started to open back up a little bit, it wasn't totally, it wasn't open up, but I was like, I need to play, and I also don't want to have like a full-blown show. And so I sort
it's
of
visceral to a cold crowd.
Yeah, and
you're
so
doing that fishing thing again, back in the day, or like there's 10 people in the room. Are you grabbing them?
And I mean, that's so cool to have a place where I felt not only comfortable but excited about doing that, and sort of like, my stomach was in my throat too, where I'm like, I'm gonna go. You have to run the PA, and it was back to basics, and it was great. And I could tell some people would walk by and be like, ugh. Like,
you made me cry.
This poor fool in here, you're like, great.
Is there any part of you that wonders whether you'll still have it later this year when you're back on stage at a festival and there's X number of people in front of you? Is there some concern that...
I mean,
do you think about that?
I have that concern when I'm playing all the time. So yes, I'm sure that will be. I'm sure from day to day.
Start thinking about it now.
I'm like, do you actually work? Like, what is this?
Well, one of the ways at the White Horse that we know somebody's having a successful night is people dance, and right now, that's a difficult thing to do and to monitor. I mean, we can barely fist bump each other. And by the way, I should point out that we're all either vaccinated and have been tested tonight. So that's why we're sitting as close as we are.
Oh, you almost did it.
Because otherwise my wife's going to watch this and she's going to be like, why were you sitting so close to those people? And this is why.
We all just spit in each other's mouths right when we walked in the door. Just like, here we go.
No, we were tested. Which is,
sorry. That's a
We
terrible
got
joke.
tested.
No,
Thank
I'm
you.
just reiterating it for the people. So dancing that's going to come back at some point. But when you look out from behind the bar at the White Horse and see it the way it is now, that's got to be weird too.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, the place was wild and sweaty, and people are grabbing strangers. What's special about Texas is that you go to a bar and you grab a stranger and embrace them and dance to the music. There's not a lot of places in the world that does that. And that's not something that we could do at the jump of this. There's a host that's right this way, sir. And then you go to a table and there's plexiglass, and that's not a honky tonk. And it's it's something that as it gets safer and safer that goes on, that it starts to resemble the way that it was. And it's been much better. Yeah.
So ultimately, there's people coming back. There's some money starting to flow thanks to the efforts of all the folks that banded together and lobbied Congress, etc. Let's end this with what we're hopeful about, and we're just going to put the vaccine out there. We know that's something to be hopeful about. But what are we hopeful about, each of you, as we move forward in these next couple of months?
I'd say I'm most hopeful for this, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And for me, I feel much more grateful for our music community and our music venues. And I am hopeful for shows to be, a lot more acknowledged for the beautiful moments that they are. And for us to all be able to be in that gratitude and relief together, but to really, listen to the music and, deepen our conversations with each other and be more mindful of what a precious gift all of it is as we get to be back with each other and figure out how to have conversations. that we can bring whatever strife, whatever wisdom we've gained to the world as we return.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly feel kind of the same. I'm hopeful for like integration. That I think it's really easy to assume that everything is the way that it is because that's how it has been, and a lot of stuff was just made up literally by the person in line right in front of you. That there's no rhyme or reason of why venues are, why ticket sales, why touring is with this, what, like if we wanted to be like, okay, shows are at 10:30 in the morning, flat out. You could just make, this is arbitrary stuff. But, in some senses, like with dancing and there's plenty of shows that I'm like, it really just wouldn't work in this sort of setup. The essence of that music or this sort of like intensity is kind of robbed from that. But then there's a lot of other stuff where it's like, this is an ideal, perfectly beautiful way to watch music, to sit at a table with people that you love and to not have nobody can leave. And like, sometimes that's the dream. That's exactly how I want to see a show. And I hope that we're able to integrate this where it's like, instead of sticking every shape into the same hole, it's that we really somehow gain awareness and diversity and are actually kind of looking at why we're doing stuff, not just if we can or not. That's what I'm hoping for.
Dennis?
I hope we, this was a hard year for everybody. I hope that we grow from this. Music's never going to go away. I hope we just get to do this for the rest of our lives.
With that, Stephanie, Alejandro, Dennis, thank you all.
Thank you.
Mike, cheers.
Cheers.
Mike, cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Dangerous.
Cheers, nice. Wow. Don't touch these anymore. We got to burn them.
Yeah. Welcome back. This is the book, Bring Music Home. It is substantial. It's gorgeous inside, and it tells an important story. You can buy it at bringmusichome.com. This, from the YETI store in Austin, Texas, is Shakey Graves.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Hi, Mom. some new chaperone. Seems you're never alone. You climb to the top of the pile, enjoy the view, stay for a while. Hard to get by on your own when you're never alone. Yeah, life of regret. Oh, each drink and each cigarette leads to life of regret. So go out and make your amends. Plant you a garden and get you some friends. Trouble's still just what you get in this life of regret. And chosen by God. It may be whether you like it or not, you get chosen by God. So you stand there and you curse at the clouds. Well, you know the answers, so scream 'em out loud. Never sleep on the job. Never no useless old slob. Yeah, never forget what you're not if you're chosen by God. Yeah, but you're nobody's fool. Yeah, that's the one thing they don't teach in school. You ain't nobody's fool. So don't worry, yeah, you'll turn out fine, 'cause you're better off dead than waiting in line. So just stick to that golden old rule. You ain't nobody's fool. You ain't nobody's fool. You ain't nobody's fool. Yeah, you ain't Hey, thank you.
This is a song about traveling around, which, you know, at some point we will all do. You can still travel around. Just be safe about it. Nomadic people. We all are.
As soon as you're living, yeah, it sure tastes good. Let's make a killing down in Hollywood. ourselves some nice fancy home in the hills. We'll go spend our time spending $10 bills. Da, 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 da. Well, just watch out, 'cause here I come, bored and lazy. Here I come, no dignity. Well, so long, sad city of angels. You ain't been very good to me. You take that blood right from my body. You take the bone right from my spine. Well, so long, sunny California. Yeah, you ain't no friend of mine. But New York City, I'll see you soon. I'll spend my money on some elbow room. Yeah, I wander around like I got someplace fancy to go. Well, I'm the king of Brooklyn. Ooh, for all she knows.
Ah, stairway, huh?
Just sit back and watch me go, bored and lazy. Yeah, watch me go, just passing through. Yeah, follow me beyond the mountain. Don't go out, let the old big know. We'll strip them clothes right from your body. We'll dress your skin in sticks and stones. It doesn't matter where we're headed, Lord, 'cause some of us were built to roam. Some of us were built to roam. Some of us. Well, we were built to roam.
Sweet. Thanks. It's been a trip trying to figure out what all this stuff is. I have no idea. This is a guitar. This tune's about being afraid of what comes next in life when good things happen and when bad things happen. Just being a continuous coward. Forever and ever and ever.
I'm tired of losing. I used to win every night of the week. Yeah, back when sex and amphetamines were the staples of our childhood physique. You used to tell me we'd turn into something. You said life was much better than this. But the closest I come to perfection's when you turn around to steal a kiss. Yeah, but you never trusted tomorrow. Is that any way to live your life? You love this heart and this six-string girl, but they've been out of tune for some time. Well, you say you love so many women, I say only so many women love driving me wild. Yeah, I get lost in complexion and the structure of a well-placed smile. But baby, you never smile. Sometimes it looks a lot better that way. Yeah, a lot better that way. Yeah, but you never trusted tomorrow. Oh, that's just a problem of mine. 'Cause I've been thrown around by some bad ones, and a good one was a new thing this time. Yeah, but you showed me that I couldn't be farther from the truth of the problem at hand. I could never say, baby, tomorrow I'll be right there, I swear. I'll be your man. Yeah, I'll try as best as I can.
Thanks. All right, I'm going to bring up my little partner in crime here, Miss Stephanie Hunt. Give a big round of internet applause right here for Stephanie Hunt, Buffalo Hunt.
Hey, baby.
So we live together, don't
yeah,
worry
we
about
live
that.
together. We kiss. We do kiss. Well, thank you. Hello, Internet. Hello, Yeti. Hello, Internet. You sound beautiful, Alejandro.
Hey, thanks, Stephanie.
It's nice to hear you.
I paid her to do that.
Yeah, I'm his hype woman. No, it's sincere. It's sincere.
Thanks.
Okay, let's sing a song by Graham Parsons and Emmylou Harris, right?
Yeah.
Sin City. Because surprisingly, a lot of this stuff still resonates.
This, what?
I think you're in the wrong key.
Fuck me.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second.
This.
The live
This old.
music. Wait.
This big old fat.
What is it?
This old town's full of sin. It'll swallow you in if you got some money to burn. Take it home right away. You got 3 years years to pay, and Satan still waiting his turn. Well, this old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain.
No, it won't.
Well, the scientists say it'll all wash away, but we don't believe them anymore. 'Cause we got our recruits and our green mohair suits, so please show some ID at the door. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. Well, a friend came around, tried to clean up this town. His ideas made some people mad, but he trusted his crowd and he spoke right out loud, and they lost the best friend they had. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain.
Hey! Sin City, baby. Okay, let's sing another song about a city. This next song's called Walking in a TV, and I'm very lucky to have Alejandro as my backing band on this. I wrote it right when I moved to Los Angeles. Don't throw a tomato. I'm from Austin, I swear. But yeah.
I moved to LA too. It's the thing.
It happens.
And now LA moved to Austin, so hey.
Hey, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really good. Really good.
Do you wanna go walking in the TV? We'll come to the streets of Los Angeles. Hear the murmurs and the buzzers that can't wait to catch a ride. Oh, turn on to believing that people move everywhere. Do they notice, oh, that I'm high? The mountains and valleys, they surprise me.
Newspapers everywhere. Are you in them or are you watching? When will you get your share? Oh, turn on to believing that things happen every day. Do you notice, or are you looking for your pay? The mountains and valleys, they remind me that I know there's more than what my eyes see. Oh, walking in a TV. Do you wanna go walking in a TV? Come to the streets of Los Angeles. And I walk in and I walk out. 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 Do you wanna go walking in the TV? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Way to go, one-man band. You really slayed that.
New every minute.
Yeah, very rehearsed. Not at all. Green grass? Okay. Okay, this next song's a gospel number I wrote about weed. Right? Holy sacrament. No, it's about inner peace. It's about inner peace. It's about inner peace. Lord. Okay. He's gonna switch. What you need? Something? The Garden of Paradise never dies. It's hard to believe, but close your eyes. And the green grass grows up to heaven above. And of all my dreams, my favorite memory is love. Where the breeze blows over the branches and leaves. Won't you please let me stay here and be right at ease? Now the Garden of Paradise, it never dies. You might not believe me, but you can just find some weed. The Garden of Paradise never dies. It's hard to believe, but open your eyes. And
Okay, we got I think 2 more songs for you.
Thank you, Internet. Thank you, Yeti.
Just generally thanking the Internet.
Thank you, Internet. You've really helped with this time.
For real, though.
For real.
Wow.
Wow. It would have been lonely. Thank you, FaceTime. Is that bad? Okay. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. Thank you to the book, Bring Music Home. It's very beautiful. We are in the book. We got to represent the Scoot Inn here in Austin, Texas. Uh-oh, something's... Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
As of now, I exist. It takes a little while to get used to this rotation. Either way, I'll make it through the day. What I wouldn't do for a little motivation to look alive. Yeah, look alive. It's over in no time. So look alive. Yeah, look alive. Look alive. It's over in no time. So look alive. Yeah, look alive. Hello. Hello, gorgeous. It's awful kind of you to notice that love is real, so drive it like you stole it off into the night. Well, as of late, you know nothing's set in stone. I haven't learned a thing since 1987. Yeah, please don't make me wait. Is there anybody home? Yeah, give me something new. I can't go on pretending to look alive. So look alive. It's over in no time. So look alive. Look alive. Look alive. It's over in no time. So look alive. Yeah, look alive. Ooh, hello, hello, gorgeous. Awful kind of you to notice that love is real, so drive it like you stole it off into the night. Ooh, the world is scratching at your window. Time is always keeping tempo. Hello, gorgeous, sweet and simple. Yeah, hello, my love. Hello, gorgeous, sweet and simple. Yeah, hello, my love.
That was a song that I wrote before anything locked down, and then it's one of those weird things where every time I listen to it, it makes me think about being trapped in my house. And I'm like, what is going on? So Careful what you make. This is an old-timey hit from our youth.
Yeah, from our youth. And this is our last song. Thank you very much. We love you. We love everybody. Love, love, love.
Although loneliness has always been a friend of mine, I'm leaving my life in your hands. People say I'm crazy and that I am blind, risking it all in a glance. But how you got me blind is still a history. I can't get you out of my head. Don't care what's been written in your history, as long as you're here with me. I don't care who you are, where you're from, don't care what you did, as long as you love me. Who you are, where you're from, don't care what you did, as long as you love me, baby. Oh, every little thing that you have said and done seems like it's deep within me. Don't care if you're here or if you're on the run. It seems like we're meant to be. I tried to hide it so that no one knows, but I guess it shows when you look into my eyes. Where you've been and where you're coming from, I don't care, as long as you love me, baby. As long as you love me, baby. As long as you love me, baby. As long as you love me.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Lots of love to the venues and all the workers and staff and people who make shows happen. And thank you guys, and thank you Yeti. And we'll see you again soon
On the other side.
on the other side. Thank you guys.
Hi guys.
Hi Casper.
Oh my God, it's so good to see you.
I know.
Well, I have a special present that I want to present to y'all.
What could it be?
I don't
What
know.
is it?
I have a
What could it
feeling
I don't
be?
know.
I think I know what it is. and
It's
I'm
bigger
really
than a
excited.
bread box.
It's a puppy.
All right, guys. This
Wow.
is your
Whoa.
copy
Oh my
of Bring
gosh.
Music Home.
Whoa, this is so beautiful.
Wow.
It's heavy. That's a lot of venues.
That's a lot of book, right?
That's a lot of venues. Each page is a venue?
Each
Got all
page is a city, so it's by alphabetical order. Look at that. There's Memphis.
Whoa.
Memphis.
Miami. Wow. Okay, so then Austin would be at the
Yeah,
beginning.
Austin would be in the front. Take a look at your
cute.
Your picture there. Yeah, why don't you read it?
Alejandra,
What does it
Stephanie,
say?
thank you for all of the support. Best Amber, Tamrat, Kevin, and the team at BMH. That's
There
so
we go.
Sweet.
Aw.
Thank you. We love this. Oh
No,
man.
you bring music home.
No, you do.
No, you do.
Stop
Bringing music
it.
home is there's a lot of venues. My lord.
Yeah, well, I think we did
Wow.
like over 300 venues.
You can feel the weight of it, literally, which
Moody
is good
Theater.
to be able to
Right?
feel that. Saxon Pub.
Saxon Pub, Moody Theater.
And this is for every one of these you did like full video interviews.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is that going to be? Are you guys putting that all together into something too?
We are. We're putting together a little. There you are.
Hey!
Wow.
Scoot in. Cuties. Wow, we went both.
Cuties at the Scooty.
How's that make y'all feel? See yourselves in a.
And there's you right
And
next to
there's
me.
feels
me.
like another lifetime ago.
Right?
This was.
Can anybody see that?
When
Yeah.
was this?
Back in March, actually. Was it
Whoa.
March?
May.
No,
I think it was May.
I think you're right.
It was a year ago.
Yeah, it was a year ago.
Wow.
It was a year ago. Not much has changed at the Scoot. And you guys, of course, still look fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
Wow. This
Have
is
you
so
have
sweet.
y'all ever been in a book before together?
No.
I don't think so.
Your first one.
Not one that stood for so much, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been in a phone book maybe.
I think we would know if we'd been in a book, actually. Wow. This is so cool!
Yay. Well, guys,
Wow.
I love y'all.
Love
Thank
too,
you
Jennifer.
so much. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, baby. Love it.